Alright, let's talk about using Venn diagrams to help us think about sets. So we dealt with kind of Venn diagrams with 2 sets, but we can do it with 3 sets, right? So you have a set A, a set B, and a set C, and you draw them so they all overlap in the middle like this. So this part of the Venn diagram here, this is everything that's in A and C. This part of the Venn diagram here is everything that's in B and C. The middle is everything that's in all 3 sets. But let's say we're looking for things that are in A and B, but not C. So it's A intersect B, and then the set minus of that with C. Well, what we can do is let's just mark off both sets. So let's mark off A and B. So that's going to be all of this stuff here, the stuff in common in A and B. But we don't want anything in C. So this bit here, we don't want that. So this is the stuff we're going to get rid of. So we're going to minus off all this stuff here, the stuff in A and B that's not included in C. So really, A and B intersect C is all this stuff in red that I'm highlighting in. So there's A and B set minus C. Now let's take a look at this guy. We want the union of B and C set minus A. So we want anything in anything in B or C, but not in A. So, well, let's just do this in one fell swoop. What we want is we want anything in B and C, so all of this stuff, but nothing in A. So we're going to exclude all of this. So what it's going to look like, it's going to look like this set. So it's everything inside the red here that I'm highlighting in. So you can see I'm avoiding A entirely. So it's everything in B and C, but not in A. Everything in B or C, but also not in A. So let's look at counting using Venn diagrams now. So let's say I did a survey, had 50 people, and I asked them, out of the provinces Alberta, Ontario, and Saskatchewan, which provinces have you been to? So out of the 50 people, 15 of the people have been to Alberta, 30 have been to Ontario, 19 have been to Saskatchewan, 8 have been to Alberta and Ontario, 12 have been to Alberta and Saskatchewan, and 7 have been to Ontario and Saskatchewan, and 5 people have been to all 3, Alberta, Ontario, and Saskatchewan. So we can start to fill this into our Venn diagram. So we know that 5 people have been to all 3 provinces. So we can put a 5 in the middle there. Now let's work backward. It's kind of the easiest way to fill in these diagrams is to start at the intersections and move outwards, I find anyway. That's a good place to start. So let's look at the next. So 7 people have been to Ontario and Saskatchewan. So that is, where's Ontario and Saskatchewan? Here's the set of people who went to Ontario here. Here's the set of people who've been to Saskatchewan here. And here is their intersection. So I know there should be 7 people who've been to Ontario and Saskatchewan. I know 5 have been to all 3 provinces, Ontario, Saskatchewan, and Alberta. So they've already been counted. So I need the rest of the people. So if 5 have been to Alberta, Ontario, and Saskatchewan, and 7 have been to Ontario and Saskatchewan, well, there must be only 2 left over that have been to Saskatchewan and Ontario, but not Alberta. So you can kind of see how to build this up. Let's do the next one. So the number of people that have been to Alberta and Saskatchewan Well, here's 12 that have been to Alberta and Saskatchewan. We already have 5 that have been to all 3, so we know that there must be 7 people left over. And we look at the third one, 8 people have been to Alberta and Ontario. We already have 5, so there must be 3 people that have been to Alberta and Ontario and not Saskatchewan. And that's, you can look at it in set notation. You could say it is Alberta intersect Ontario set minus Saskatchewan, like we did in the earlier slide. So, all right, let's keep going. So, let's look at the Saskatchewan set. So that's this guy here. We know 19 people have been to Saskatchewan. How many people have we taken into account so far? 7 plus 5 plus 2, so that's 12 plus 2 is 14. And we know 19 people have been to Saskatchewan, so we know we're missing 5 people inside the set, and the only place for them left to go is in here. So we know that this has to be 5 people. Also, we can do the same thing with Ontario. So 30 people have been to Ontario, and we've already taken into account 3 plus 5 is 8, plus 2 is 10, so we're missing 20. So we know 20 people who've only been to Ontario, so haven't been to Alberta or Saskatchewan. And then the number of people that have been to Alberta, well, without being to the other provinces, well, how many people have we taken into account? We've taken into account 7 plus 5 is 12, plus 3 is 15, and we know 15 people have been to Alberta, so there's nobody in this part. There is nobody who has only gone to Alberta without visiting any other province. So how many people do we have in our diagram in total? Let's count. So we have 3 plus 5 is 8, plus 7 is 15, so it's 15 people, plus 20 is 35, plus 2 is 37, plus 5 is 42. So we have 42 people inside this Venn diagram. We interviewed or surveyed 50 people. So where are the other 8 people? Well, those 8 people must not be in any set, so they must be outside. There are people who haven't been to either Alberta, Ontario, or Saskatchewan, so we can put a little 8 outside our diagram to say that there are 8 people who haven't been to any of these 3 provinces. So that's kind of the idea of how to use Venn diagrams to help you count. The idea of working from the intersections outwards is a really good way of filling in these diagrams. And then if you're asked questions, you can use these diagrams to help.